Salam. Okay. Let's begin with the breath. In the name of God, the source of life, the infinitely compassionate and infinitely merciful, we give thanks for this awareness, for this moment in time, for this sustaining breath, for this gathering of souls, and for our yearning, and for our prayers for each other, and for the world. Thankful for each breath, emptying with every exhalation, awakening with every inhalation. We will leave you in silence for a while. Let yourself go deep, aware of each breath moving toward the center of the heart. And now with each breath, call to mind a divine name that you choose. And now we'll join our voices and or our minds in the invocation of who, that name which denotes the fundamental being, our source. Bismillah. Now continue in silence. Amen. 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 Salam to everyone. So we're here for spiritual maintenance. We're here to awaken a deeper intention. We're here to find a deeper coherence in confusing and challenging times. And I hope we all have the experience strongly that after our time together, after we do some practice, some muraqabah, some dhikr, some conversation, that we re-enter our lives with a new coherence, a new faith and hope, a new sense of well-being, whatever else is going on. We truly hope you have that experience and that it proves itself. For some of you, I know you're at the stage of discovering this path, this teaching. We get emails and messages from people expressing that and how grateful they are to find a path, a community that they feel at home in, as teaching that makes sense. And for others, we've been together perhaps a very long time. And for us, we need to renew our himma, our intention, our commitment, and not be complacent, not take this path for granted. This tradition, this path of Sufism, involves a practice that, well, by the very word practice, we imply something practical. And so some of what we try to communicate are these practicalities of what can a human being accomplish? What can we do for the sake of our souls? And we have a theme this month, which is instead of seeking attention, become attention. Instead of seeking attention, become attention. And this is a very elementary principle that applies to many levels of this spiritual journey. So let me say a few words about how we understand this. You know, we all need attention. From the time we are children, we seek attention. It's a basic human need. And we have a right to attention, to some attention. To have friends, to have family, to have people who are close to us. And so there is a human need for attention. Where it goes awry is when it becomes an unconscious motivation, when we do things for the sake of gaining attention, for the sake of stealing attention, when that basic human need for attention becomes a neediness. And this can exist at many levels of the spiritual journey. And it's something that we should always be aware of as a possibility, in order that our motivations are clean, in order that we might be free of these unconscious motivations. On this path, as the soul matures, and as you may approach what is called the path of Melamet, the way of blame, a very advanced level of spiritual journeying, a person on that path of Melamet learns to play with this need for attention and learns to intentionally, shall we say, short circuit this need and instead pursue a kind of anonymity, pursue a kind of invisibility, to wean oneself from the need for attention. That's a mature spirituality that, inshallah, we might gradually grow into, where we can live invisibly in this world and where it makes no difference how people perceive us, as long as we as long as we are doing our best to be sincere. So there's a whole study and practice of self-observation here to notice our motivations and to notice our need for attention and how we are managing that. But now the second part of this theme, become attention. This is the beginning, this is the awakening of our true humanness, our true spirituality. Now, to become attention means that something awakens in us, and we begin to pay attention consciously, intentionally. This week there was a program on National Public Radio as I was driving, and they were talking about bird watching and people's delight in watching birds. And I was thinking, how lovely people are really learning to pay attention and to look in places where they might overlook, and to just notice their environment. And you don't have to go out into the wilderness to be a bird watcher. We can do it here from our back or front porch. And we've been doing a lot of that. But I was just delighting in people's enjoyment of noticing birds. And one person said, actually, there were a few levels that took place, and the conversation became quite transcendent at a certain point. And one person was saying, you don't need to watch birds in order to label them and name them. The birds already know who they are. And another person said, instead of naming the species, instead of the what, when I look for birds, I look for the who of who they are. Who are these birds? What does their song mean? So this person was beginning to enter into that qualitative experience, not just awakening attention in the present moment, but awakening something that includes the heart, which is our instrument for qualitative perception. Mevlana has something beautiful to say about this. And this is in the pocket Rumi, and probably elsewhere too. And it has a title. It's a passage from Book 6 of the Mesnavi. You are an eye. Since you have perceived the dust of forms, perceive the wind that moves them. Since you have perceived the foam, perceive the ocean of creative energy. Come, perceive it, for in you, insight is all that matters. The rest is just fat and flesh, a weft and warp of bones and muscle. Your fat never increased the light in candles, your flesh never became roast meat. For someone drunk with spiritual wine, dissolve this whole body of yours in vision. Pass into sight. Pass into sight. Pass into sight. One sight perceives only 2 yards ahead. Another sight has beheld both worlds and the face of the king. Between these two, is an incalculable difference. Seek the remedy of vision, and God best knows that which is hidden. So Mevlana is telling us that what we are is essentially vision, and this bodily form is a vehicle with its own intelligence, of course, its own beauty, its own sacredness. But a very high purpose of this humanness is to awaken vision. And a vision that has different levels, shall we say. Since you have perceived the dust of forms, perceive the wind that moves them. Elsewhere he says, we have shown you the dust and hidden the wind. Or, since you have perceived the foam, perceive the ocean of creative energy. So, Rumi is encouraging us to see something beyond appearances, to not only awaken attention, but to deepen that attention, to begin to perceive with the eye of the heart. And through this, to know something of profound importance, and something that, as the more we know it, the more we perceive it, the more it enters into us, into the heart, to strengthen the heart, to purify the heart. And from that strengthened and purified heart, human coherence develops. Now, this teaching is referred to in the Quran in a very profound way. And I'm quoting here, and I thought I would recommend this book to you, or remind you of the Book of Revelations. It's an anthology that we put together some years ago. Source book of selections from the Quran with interpretations. And so it can be found on Amazon. You may have to add our last name to it to find it easily, because there are lots of, it's mistaken for the Book of Revelation by St. John, which we had nothing to do with writing. So this was the Book of Revelations, plural, selections from the Quran. So this is from Surah Al-An'am, verses 102 and following. Now I'm going to replace the pronouns with the word divine. I'm taking that liberty. No vision can encompass the divine, but the divine encompasses all vision. No vision can encompass the divine, but the divine encompasses all vision. For the divine alone is subtle beyond comprehension, all aware. Means of insight have now come to you from your sustainer through this divine message. Whoever then chooses to see does so for the benefit of their own soul. And whoever chooses to remain blind does so to their own loss. No vision can encompass the divine, but the divine encompasses all vision. So there is a ladder, Jacob's ladder, the stages of ascent on the spiritual path, the ladder from imprisonment to freedom, the ladder from distortion to reality. And there are many other ways we could describe it. Let's be encouraged and let's renew our sense of what's possible on this journey of ascent, so that we begin to feel in our hearts the preciousness of a spiritual path that offers the possibility of completion. There's a saying in our tradition, not every ladder reaches the roof. Not every ladder reaches the window of the beloved. So may this hima, which means spiritual intention, commitment, may it be renewed in us. May we pass into sight by becoming attention, by appreciating this existence, but also seeing the source of existence, seeing the one who has granted us these human faculties, granted us this incredible theater of divine manifestation. Well, we had a birth this week. Hannah gave birth to Eva.
Eva Marianne.
Eva Marianne.
Eva Marianne.
Mm-hmm. Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. Such a beautiful rosebud has arrived.
Yeah. Let's remember our source.
And Shazra's brother.
Yes, Camille's reminding me that Shazra, who's not with us on the call today, and she's attending her brother-in-law who's had a second stroke. And she's asked for prayers.
For Hawar. So we hold him and all the family in our hearts.
Yes. You know, Camille, I'm thinking, could we switch sides?
Yeah.
Okay. That way the drum is not so prominent. I can bring it over here because the drum tends to dominate, even though I'm playing it with the lightest possible touch. How is that?
Inshallah.
Very good. Come closer. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman-Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amen. As long as we're in this world, none of us is free of faults, mistakes, and sins. May we be forgiven and may we be forgiving. Bismillah. Astaghfirullah. 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 Astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. And everything in existence is the manifestation of a single source of life and being. We say these words, La ilaha illallah, to remind us of the oneness of being and to remind us not to make idols of our ego's whims and desires. Bismillah, La ilaha illallah. 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 La ilaha Could you pass me water? Those pages right there. Camille, would you read a ghazal to us? One of the first ghazals that we ever translated, maybe 40 years ago.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Join yourself to friends and know the joy of the soul. Enter the neighborhood of ruin with those who drink to the dregs. Empty the glass of your desire so that you won't be disgraced. Stop looking for something out there and begin seeing within. Open your arms if you want an embrace. Break the earthen idols and release the radiance. Why get involved with a hag like this world? You know what it will cost. And 3 pitiful meals a day is all that weapons and violence can earn. At night when the beloved comes, will you be nodding on opium? If you close your mouth to food, you can know a sweeter taste. Our host is no tyrant. We gather in a circle. Sit down with us beyond the wheel of time. Here is the deal. Give 1 life and receive 100. Stop growling like dogs and know the shepherd's care. You keep complaining about others and all they owe you. Well, forget about them. Just be in his presence. When the earth is this wide, why are you asleep in a prison? Think of nothing but the source of thought. Feed the soul, let the body fast. Avoid knotted ideas. Untie yourself in a higher world. Limit your talk for the sake of timeless communion. Abandon life and the world and find the life of the world.
And God answers all calls made in sincerity and truth. Bismillah, Ya Allah. Allah. Allah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alam nashrah laka sadrak wa wadana anka wizrak alladhi anqadha dhahrak wa rafa'na laka dhikrak fa inna ma'al usri yusra inna ma'al usri yusra فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب صدق الله العظيم.
We give thanks for the light under which we gather, for our peer Hazrati Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi, for the generations of seekers and guides that have come before us, and for all those who have been our teachers.
Amen.
And we pray for the health and well-being of everyone in this circle, our families, our children, our children's children, future generations, our communities, and our world.
Amen.
And we mention at this time anyone in need of prayer or healing. And may Almighty God make our intention and our awareness sound and bring us in readiness to the center of true beginning. And may the light of this circle be received wherever it's needed. By the breath of Mevlana, by the secret of Shamsi Tabriz, by the nobility of Imam Ali, with the blessings of Muhammad Mustafa and all the prophets. May we say who? Assalamu alaikum.